Welcome to Teen Compass. We're all about helping you navigate life, with confidence. And let's be real for a sec. Does it ever feel like you're just constantly running out of time?
It's tough out there.
Like between school and friends and family stuff, maybe a job, hobbies,
Oh, yeah.
and trying to squeeze in some kind of social life, it's easy to get totally overwhelmed.
Absolutely.
But what if I told you it's not always about actually lacking time, but maybe more about how we're actually using the time we do have?
Interesting.
That's exactly what we're diving into today. Practical, faith-based strategies, tips, all that to really help you manage your time. Hopefully you can take back control of your schedule and make every single moment count. What do you think?
I love it. And it's so fascinating how we often complain about not having enough time.
Right.
But the reality is we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not about getting more time. It's about making the time we do have work for us. And a fantastic place to start is by understanding those priorities. And actually, Ephesians 5, verses 15 to 16, reminds us to be very careful how we live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity. Because the days are evil.
I like that. Okay, that makes total sense. But how do we figure out what our priorities even should be? It feels like everything's important when you're a teenager.
I know, right? Everything feels like it's like an emergency.
Yeah.
But remember, you can't literally do everything at once, right?
True.
Think about your week ahead. What are the things that absolutely have to get done?
Yeah.
That history project that's due next month? Yeah, that's important. But that math test tomorrow?
Ooh, yeah.
That's both urgent and important. That goes straight to the top of the list.
Got to prioritize.
Yeah. Have you heard of the Eisenhower matrix?
The Eisenhower matrix?
Yeah.
Fill me in.
So basically, it helps you categorize tasks based on urgency and importance. It's like a filter for your to-do list.
Okay, I like that. Like it's filtering out all the noise. So it helps us figure out what really needs our attention right now versus what can maybe wait a little bit.
Exactly. And once you have that clarity, right,
Yeah.
you can start putting things into your schedule.
Yeah.
Important, but not urgent. Block out some time next week to work on that history project.
Okay.
But those things that are neither urgent nor important.
Oh, no.
Like endlessly scrolling through TikTok when you have a test to study for.
Yep.
Those are the ones we're going to try to minimize as much as possible.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That one hits a little too close to home. I think we've all been there. But let's back up for a second.
Yeah.
How do we align those priorities with our faith?
Oh, that's where things get really interesting, I think. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. It's about, making sure our priorities are matching up with God's purpose for us. So as you're making that list of what really matters, just pause and ask yourself, is spending hours on TikTok really, truly what God's calling me to do right now?
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's not just about checking things off a to-do list. It's making sure those things are moving us in the right direction.
You got it. And, those priorities, they can definitely change.
Yeah, of course.
Life happens, right? It's
Right.
all about being flexible and adaptable. Actually, Proverbs 2, verses 3 to 8 says, "Cry out for insight and understanding. Seek it like silver and search for it as hidden treasure."
That's so true. What's important to me during finals week
Right.
might be totally different from what I'm focused on during summer break. It's like different seasons.
Exactly. And those long-term goals, getting into your dream college.
Yeah.
Those can feel huge
They're
right?
actually overwhelming.
But they don't have to be. You can break those big goals down, you know? Instead of getting stressed about that entire college application process, just focus on this week. Maybe spend 20 minutes each day prepping for the SAT or the ACT. Start looking into those essay prompts. It's all about those baby steps.
Okay, that feels a lot less scary. I can definitely handle 20 minutes of SAT prep.
There you go.
But what else I struggle with is those little things that just steal my time without me even realizing it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll check social media for just a minute and then suddenly an hour's gone.
Oh, the time vampires. They sound scary, right?
Time vampires?
They're like these sneaky little habits that disguise themselves as harmless, but they can suck away hours of our precious time.
Time vampires.
Yeah.
Okay, give me an example. What do these time vampires look like?
Think about that quick check on TikTok or Instagram that turns into an hour-long scroll. Or saying yes to every social invitation, even when you're already super busy.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you're spending way too long trying to make something perfect when it just needs to be good enough.
Okay, that is me. Those are all me. I need to learn how to fight these time vampires.
Well, first, you have to be aware of them.
Okay, true.
Try tracking your time for an entire day. Like, write down everything you do and how long you spend on it. You might be surprised by what you see.
Okay.
And then think about the 80-20 rule.
80-20 rule.
Yeah. It's the idea that 80% of our results come from just 20% of our effort.
Yeah.
So we should be focusing on the things that will actually make the biggest impact, you know?
So working smarter, not harder.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's figure out your 20%. What 3 things, if you did them really well, would make the biggest difference in your week?
That's a good question. I'd say finishing that English essay, getting a good grade on that upcoming math test, and going to soccer practice because I'm trying to make varsity next year.
There you go. Those are your 20%. Make sure they get done.
Okay, that makes sense. But sometimes I get so stuck trying to make everything perfect that I just lose track of the big picture.
Yeah, I get that. And that's where decision fatigue comes in. It's when your brain gets tired from making too many choices. It's like trying to pick out an outfit when your closet is overflowing. You just end up stressed and frustrated.
Yes. So how do we avoid that and actually get stuff done?
Planning. Proverbs 16:3 tells us, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans." Taking the time to plan our days isn't just about being organized. We're acknowledging that God is in control, you know?
I like that. So we're inviting God into our planning process.
Exactly. Now, I know planning can feel a little rigid sometimes.
Yeah, a little bit.
You're not becoming a robot. Think of it as a roadmap, not a set of ironclad rules. Have you ever tried time blocking?
Time blocking. I don't think so. Tell me more.
Basically, you divide your day into chunks of time, and each chunk is for a specific task. So instead of just saying, I'll study it tonight, you block out time in your schedule, from 7 to 8 p.m., just for focused studying. It can really help.
Okay, that does sound helpful.
Yeah.
But how detailed do we need to get? Should I be planning out every minute of my day?
That's a great question. It depends on your personality, you know? Some people love super structured schedules, while others are more go with the flow, experiment and see what works for you.
Okay, so it's a personalized roadmap, not one size fits all.
You got it. And it's okay to adjust your plan as you go. Life happens. But having that roadmap helps you stay grounded, even when things get a little crazy.
That makes a lot of sense. So we talked about time blocking, but what else can we do to make those daily plans super effective?
You know, it can be a real game changer. Planning your day the night before.
The night before? Why not just wait till the morning when I'm awake and ready to go?
Think about it. How often do you wake up feeling rushed and stressed like you're already behind?
Pretty much every day.
That's where planning the night before comes in. It helps with that decision fatigue we talked about earlier. When you already know what you're going to wear, what you'll eat for breakfast, and what your big to-dos are, you're freeing up so much mental energy for the day.
Okay, yeah, I hate that feeling of having to make a million choices before I've even had my coffee. What are the steps?
Start with a brain dump.
A brain dump.
Just write down everything you need to do the next day.
Okay.
Homework, soccer practice, youth group, even little errands or chores.
Got it.
Then prioritize those tasks, what's urgent and important. You can use colors, numbers, whatever works for you. Then you can assign each task a time slot in your schedule.
So it's like creating a personalized schedule for the next day, but I'm doing it before I go to sleep.
Exactly. And remember, start small. You don't have to plan every single minute. Just focus on the things that are important to you and leave some buffer time for the unexpected.
Okay, I can definitely do that. Buffer time. Why is that so important?
Because, let's face it, life is unpredictable.
Oh, yeah.
Things come up. Pop quizzes, a friend who needs to talk, a traffic jam. Buffer time helps you roll with those punches without totally derailing your whole day.
So it's like creating a safety net for our plans.
Exactly. It's about being flexible and realistic and, giving yourself permission to not be perfect.
I love that. We're human, not robots. It's okay if things don't go exactly as planned. What about when we get stuck trying to do everything perfectly?
That's when setting time limits can be a lifesaver. Instead of spending hours and hours on that essay, set a timer for 45 minutes and challenge yourself to get a good draft done in that time.
So working efficiently, not getting lost in perfectionism.
Yes. Remember, done is better than perfect.
Ooh, good one.
It's much better to have a good essay turned in on time than a perfect one that's late.
Okay, that is a helpful reminder.
Yeah.
But I gotta admit, sometimes I just hit a wall, I get mentally exhausted and it's hard to stay focused.
I totally get that. It's like our brains need a break sometimes, just like our bodies need to rest. Taking breaks is so important for staying focused and avoiding burnout. Actually, it helps you get more done in the long run.
Okay, I'm seeing how this all fits together now. It's all about balance, right?
Right.
Focused work, but also time to rest. Does the Bible, say anything about rest?
Absolutely. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy.
Hmm.
God himself rested on the seventh day of creation, and he wants us to rest too.
That's a good point. It's not just like a suggestion. But let's be honest, sometimes those breaks turn into distractions.
Oh,
Why
totally.
do we make sure our breaks are actually restorative?
Be intentional about what you do during those breaks. Choose activities that really help you unplug from your work.
So scrolling through social media is probably not the best way to spend my break.
Probably not. Try something that gets you moving.
Okay.
Go for a walk, do some stretching, even just stand up and do a few jumping jacks.
Okay.
Physical activity gets that blood flowing to your brain.
I like it. I can get behind that. What about mental breaks?
Those are super important too. You could try listening to some calming music or do some deep breathing exercises.
Okay.
You could also do some light reading or a creative hobby like drawing or journaling. Choose something that allows your mind to relax and recharge.
I love that. I like the idea of incorporating some creativity into our breaks.
It's like letting your brain play a little bit. And don't underestimate the power of social breaks.
Okay.
Connecting with other people, even if it's just for a few minutes, can totally boost our mood and lower our stress levels.
So a quick chat with a friend or family member could actually be productive.
It can be, but it's easy for those breaks to turn into distractions, so set a timer so you don't lose track of time.
Oh, that's smart.
And maybe try leaving your phone in another room so you're not tempted to check it.
I need to do that.
It's about creating boundaries.
Yeah. I think sometimes we feel guilty taking breaks,
Oh, for sure.
Feels unproductive.
Yeah. We're so programmed to be on all the time, but breaks aren't wasted time at all.
They're actually an investment. You take care of yourself, you're more productive in the long run.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've talked about understanding our priorities, planning out our days, taking those strategic breaks. But what happens when things, don't go according to plan? Life is unpredictable. Sometimes those best laid plans just go out the window.
You are so right, and that's where the importance of reflection comes in. Lamentations 3, verse 40, tells us to examine our ways, test them, and let us return to the Lord. When we take some time to reflect on our days and our weeks, we're inviting God into the process of growth.
I like that. So we're not just looking back and beating ourselves up over what we didn't do. We're looking for ways to learn and grow.
You got it.
Okay, so how do we make sure those reflections are productive and not discouraging?
Start with the good stuff.
Yeah.
What did you accomplish this week? What are you proud of? Celebrate those wins.
Okay, that's a good reminder.
It's easy to focus on what we didn't do and forget to acknowledge how far we've already come.
Yeah, that is true. And when you do think about the things that maybe didn't go so well, approach it with curiosity, not judgment.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what happened? Why did I struggle with this? What can I learn from this experience? How can I approach this differently next time?
So it's like turning mistakes into opportunities for growth.
Exactly. And, you don't have to do this alone. Talk to a trusted friend, a mentor, a youth leader. Share your struggles, ask for advice, and pray for guidance. We were never meant to do this alone.
That's such an encouraging reminder.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about priorities, planning, breaks, reflection. What else do we need to know to become time management masters?
We can have all the best techniques, the best strategies, but if we're not taking care of ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually, it's all going to be so much harder.
That's a great point. Like trying to run a marathon without any training.
Exactly. So make sure you're prioritizing your physical health, get enough sleep, eat healthy food, and get some exercise into your routine.
Those are definitely the basics. What about when you're feeling overwhelmed, stressed, anxious? It's hard to focus on anything when your brain is just going a million miles an hour.
You're so right, and that's where those spiritual disciplines we talked about before become even more important. Prayer, Bible study, worship, those are powerful tools.
Yeah.
They help us connect with God, find some peace, and renew our strength.
It's like tapping into a source of strength outside of ourselves.
Exactly. And don't forget about your community. Surround yourself with people who support you, encourage you, challenge you to grow.
Okay, so it's taking care of ourselves, body, mind, and spirit, and having a support system to help us through those tough times.
That's it.
Now let's talk about goals. How do we make progress on those things we want to achieve in life?
Setting goals is so important. It gives us direction, purpose, keeps us motivated. But we have to be careful not to set goals that are too vague or just unrealistic.
Yeah, that's just setting yourself up to fail.
It is. So how do we make sure our goals are achievable?
Right. How do we do it?
One helpful framework is called the SMART goal system.
SMART goals.
Yep.
Okay, I've heard of this.
Stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Okay. Break it down for me.
So a specific goal is clearly defined, like what do you want to achieve and how will you get there? So instead of saying, I want to get better at math, a specific goal would be, I want to raise my math grade from a C to a B by the end of the semester by studying for 30 minutes every day and going to extra help sessions twice a week.
Okay, so be super clear and detailed about what we want.
Exactly. And a measurable goal lets you track your progress. You can use numbers or milestones to measure your success. For example, instead of saying, I want to read more books, a measurable goal would be, I want to read 1 book a month for the next year.
Okay, that makes sense. Like a measuring stick for our progress.
Exactly. An achievable goal means it's challenging, but not impossible. So like, if you're new to running, you're not going to set a goal to run a marathon next month. Start with running a mile without stopping, and you can gradually increase the distance over time.
So it's about being honest with ourselves about what we can actually do.
Yes. Then a relevant goal, that's all about lining up with your values, passions, and what you want to do in the long run. It should be something that you're excited to work towards.
Okay, so if my dream is to be a veterinarian, a relevant goal would be to volunteer at an animal shelter.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
And last but not least, a time-bound goal. That means it has a deadline. This helps you stay on track and accountable. So instead of saying, I want to learn to play the guitar, a time-bound goal would be, I want to be able to play 3 chords on the guitar by the end of the month.
Okay, so the SMART goal system, it's all about setting ourselves up for success.
Yeah.
Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. I like it.
Yes.
But let's talk about breaking down those larger goals into smaller, more manageable steps. Because even those realistic goals can feel kind of scary if we don't know how to get there.
Absolutely. It's like that saying, how do you eat an elephant?
Yeah.
One bite at a time.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So start by identifying those big goals. What do you want to achieve in the long term? Then break them down into smaller milestones. So if your goal is to write a novel, your milestones might be to outline the story, then write a chapter per week, then revise and edit the entire thing.
Okay, so it's like creating a roadmap for our goals. We can take it step by step.
You got it.
And once we've got those milestones in place, we can break those down even further.
Exactly. Make a list of actual tasks you can schedule into your week. So if your milestone is to write a chapter each week, maybe your tasks are to brainstorm ideas on Monday, write a rough draft on Tuesday and Wednesday, revise on Thursday, and finalize on Friday.
Okay, I like that. Like a mini schedule for each milestone.
Yeah.
But even with a good plan, it can be hard to stay motivated, right?
Totally.
How do we avoid getting sidetracked?
I love visualization. Take a few minutes each day to picture yourself achieving that goal. What will it feel like? What will you see and hear? It helps you connect to your goal on an emotional level, and that can boost your motivation.
I love it. It's like creating a mental movie of our success.
Yes, and don't underestimate the power of accountability. Share your goals with a friend, a family member, maybe a mentor, someone who can support you and check in on your progress.
Yeah, that's so helpful. It's like having someone in your corner cheering you on.
Exactly. And celebrate those wins along the way. Every time you hit a milestone, take a minute to recognize your effort. That keeps your momentum going.
I like it. It's so important to appreciate our accomplishments and give ourselves credit for the hard work we're putting in. But, we all stumble sometimes. What about when we make mistakes? How do we handle setbacks without, wanting to just give up on everything?
First, remember that setbacks are a normal part of life. Everyone makes mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
It's how we learn.
True.
Instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself, what went wrong? What can I learn from this? How can I do it differently next time?
It's like turning those mistakes into learning opportunities.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're feeling stuck, talk to someone you trust, a parent, a teacher, a mentor. Sometimes just talking things through can help us see things more clearly.
I like that. We don't have to figure everything out on our own. Okay, so much good advice about setting realistic goals. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
Remember that goal setting is a journey, not a destination. It's about making progress, learning along the way, and just, becoming the best version of yourself. And don't forget to have fun. Setting goals is about creating a meaningful life, so enjoy the process.
Love that. Okay, so we talked about understanding our priorities, planning our days, taking strategic breaks, reflecting on our progress, and setting realistic goals. Phew, that's a lot of information.
It is a lot, but time management is a skill that, you learn over time.
Right.
It takes practice.
So don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away.
Exactly. Start small. Pick one or two of these strategies and just go from there.
Okay, so start small and build those healthy habits over time. But what if you're feeling overwhelmed?
Oh, I get it.
Like you don't even know where to begin.
Brain dump.
Brain dump.
Yeah, just write down everything that's on your mind. Tasks, worries, goals, ideas. Just get it all out of your head, and then you can start to prioritize and break things down into smaller, more manageable steps.
Okay, that feels a lot less scary, but sometimes it feels like I'm working really hard, but not actually getting anywhere. You know what I mean?
I do. Like you're just spinning your wheels.
Yeah, exactly. What can we do about that?
Identify those time vampires.
Ooh, those time vampires.
The things that just suck up all your time and energy, but you don't really get anything out of them.
I think we all have a few of those working around.
Right.
Okay, so how do we get rid of them?
Awareness is the first step.
Okay.
Track your time for a couple of days. Write down everything you do and how long you spend on it. It's amazing how much time we waste on things that aren't actually important to us.
Okay, so once we know where our time is actually going,
then you can make better choices. If you realize you're spending 2 hours a day on social media, maybe you cut that back to 30 minutes and you use that extra time for something more productive or enjoyable.
Okay, so it's about making those little adjustments.
Exactly. Little adjustments that can make a big difference.
I love that. So we talked about brain dumps, those time vampires, those little adjustments. Any other tips for actually making real progress?
Just start.
Gus.
Don't overthink it.
Okay.
Don't get stuck in the plan phase. Just pick one small task and get going.
Okay, so build momentum.
Exactly. Remember that even small steps are still steps in the right direction. Consistency is key. Even if you only have 15 minutes a day to work on something, over time, that adds up.
That's encouraging. It's not about being perfect. It's just about showing up and putting in the effort.
You got it. And, remember, you are not alone on this journey. There are people who care about you and want to see you succeed. Don't be afraid to reach out for help.
That's such a good reminder.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been such an amazing deep dive into time management. I feel like I have a whole toolbox full of new strategies to help me make the most of my time.
Me too. It's been great.
And it's so important to remember that time is such a precious gift from God. And it's up to us to use it wisely and intentionally.
You said it.
It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters well.
Absolutely.
Well, that's it for this episode of Teen Compass. We hope you feel inspired and empowered to take control of your time and really make those moments count. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we'll see you next time.